This past Thursday, ADP released its National Employment Report, and according to their numbers, U.S. job growth appears to be on the rise. However, let's take a look at the data to determine for yourself if you believe what they're putting out in the media. And also in this video, we'll discuss current employment numbers as we look at layoffs, as well as the growing consumer debt problem in America and the highest mortgage rates that we've seen in decades, and what all this could mean for the housing market throughout the remaining 2023. All right, guys, welcome back. And in this video, I'm going to provide to you some real data that will show you what's going on with the current state of the economy and how this will affect the U.S. housing market, which, by the way, is not good. Also, how should you be preparing yourself for what many experts say will finally catch us in the third and fourth quarter of this year? I'm talking about the recession and what that will mean for your wallets. So let's get started. And at the end of this video, I'm going to ask you something very personal. So if you're comfortable doing so, drop your comments below. I believe there's wisdom in crowds, and everyone loves reading your comments, including me. If this is your first time watching, I'm Todd Sachs, a real estate broker in Maryland, and our channel is dedicated to keeping you informed on everything real estate. And if you like it here, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the alert bell, and you'll be notified when we post content. And as always, guys, don't just keep this content to yourself. Please share it with your family and friends. The share button is below. All right, so let's get started with this ADP report. And to do so, we'll take a look at the condensed press release published on July 6th. Now, ADP, who was criticized just 1 year ago for being overly optimistic, predicting private payrolls, and in fact, they paused their monthly release of its private sector employment report as it retools the methodology, according to a Barron's article published on June 30th of 2022. So according to this press release, ADP publishes private sector employment increased by 497,000 jobs in June, and that annual pay was up 6.4%. Now let's take a look at those 497,000 jobs they say were created. It was said 69,000 in national resources or mining, 97,000 in construction, 90,000 jobs in trade, transportation, and utilities, 74,000 in education and health services, and 232,000 jobs in leisure and hospitality. Well, maybe the hospitality jobs have something to do with coming into summertime and people traveling, but not really sure how much those jobs pay. And if they're relying on tips, well, I think there's plenty of articles out there right now on tip fatigue, especially when you go someplace that you wouldn't normally tip, like to just pick up your pizza from the local pizzeria. You know, they turn that machine around and like put it in your face and say, how much tip would you like to give me for doing my job? Well, anyways, there's another 28,000, they say, in other services. But now for the bad news. According to the report, 93,000 jobs were removed, and we lost 42,000 in manufacturing, where if we learned anything from the pandemic, we should be increasing those numbers with the government's help. And that we lost 30,000 jobs in the information business. And I tried looking that up to see what information was, information services. I think they're referring to technology jobs, but maybe this is like manufacturing. Maybe we're losing them to outsourcing. And finally, they said that there was a loss of 21,000 jobs in financial activities and professional business services. Guys, the devil's in the details. So let's consider what ADP is reporting in contrast to the Federal Reserve Economic Data Chart, referred to as FRED. So in this chart, FRED reports that from January 2023 through the end of May 2023, there's been a loss of 739,000 non-farm job openings, as suggested by the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And comparing these numbers to just 1 year ago, we've lost 1,619,000 job openings. Wow. Now, in contrast, on the same date of the ADP's report, Reuters published that, according to the latest job cuts report from employment firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, released on Thursday, U.S.-based employers said that they were cutting 40,709 jobs in June. Now, this is down 49% from the number of cuts announced in May, but this planned pace of layoffs in June was well above the 32,517 cuts announced in June of 2022. And it goes on to say that these cuts are made as employers brace for the prospect of a recession, and that last month's announced job cuts was the highest for a month of June since 2020. And guys, that's when unemployment skyrocketed. It also says the technology sector continues to downsize the fastest. Now, as our trusted mainstream media continues to push roses and sunshine, let's take a deeper look into ADP's report. And by the way, what I'm about to show you is not in the press release. According to ADP's Employment Report website, in June, job creation surged in June. However, their chief economist, Neela Richardson, quoted, "Consumer-facing service industries had a strong June, aligning to push job creation higher than expected. But wage growth continues to ebb in these same industries, and hiring likely is cresting after a late cycle surge." Now, according to the dictionary, ebb means to lessen or reduce, and cresting means it's reaching the top. Why wasn't this published in the press release? Now, let's take a look at the climbing consumer debt. And guys, we need to take this serious. So we best hope our job market stays strong and that any predicted recession is mild, and also that the Fed can actually continue to soft land inflation without massively increasing unemployment. Look at this. As of June 21st, 2023, consumer loans, guys, have never been higher at almost $1 trillion. Now, the problem is that with this type of consumer debt, the interest rates have skyrocketed on the unpaid balances, this $1 trillion, making it impossible for many to ever pay off their debt. And unfortunately, I believe that we're about to see a wave of personal bankruptcies like never before. Now, speaking of interest rates, let's take a look at the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. It's at the highest rate that we've seen since July 20th of 2006, 17 years ago. Now let's talk about reality, because this chart can be deceiving. The July 6, 2023 rate published here at 6.81% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is based on applications submitted to Freddie Mac from lenders across the country. But Google shows us that the average conventional rates are at 8% and that VA and FHA are hovering around the mid 7% range. Now, these averages are something we haven't seen since December 15th of 2000, 23 years ago. So now let's go on and talk about the housing market. After you've seen the data, how can so-called housing market experts possibly not expect further home price corrections? Okay, let's consider the lack of inventory. Despite lack of inventory, would you believe that people just can't afford the monthly payments required to buy a decent home with these mortgage rates? So you're not seeing this in mainstream media, but let's take a look at my data that I can see from my own multiple listing service, and this covers the entire Mid-Atlantic region. As of May alone, what should have been the hottest time for real estate sales, one of the best months of the year where sellers historically net the most money for their home, actual sold prices compared to what the sellers originally listed for declined year over year in all 89 counties, with the exception, guys, of one, and that was Falls Church, Virginia. Okay, so now for that personal question. Do you believe what you hear in mainstream media? And if so, what channel do you rely on? You can drop those comments below, and thanks guys for watching. And if you found this information to be worthwhile, please hit the thumbs up and consider sharing the video with your friends. And in the meantime, while you're here, if you're not already subscribed to our channel and you'd like to be alerted when I post more videos just like this, you can hit the subscribe button, click on the alert bell, and you'll be notified every time we post. And lastly, if you need an agent and you're anywhere else but Maryland, because of course, if you're in Maryland, you're going to call me, you can visit our new website expected to launch next week, or you can connect with local agents, lenders, and more in your city. See you next time. Sachs Realty, Maryland broker number 607720, office number 443-318-4514, equal housing opportunity.